WEFUNK. We funk.
I guess going from one Netflix and chat episode of The Marriage Story to come to another Netflix and chat episode that's already gone down. And check out episode 13, Netflix and chat, a two-parter.
That's right.
So we're gonna spare you some of our breakdown for this one because we've already done it over two different parts of an episode.
Yeah. We got our impressions, our theories,
exactly. I gave you my De Niro face for close to 3 hours.
You mean this face?
Yeah, now
face
my
I'm doing right
cheeks
now?
are sore. So my doctor told me to not do that anymore.
I think I can do one more of these though for you. Oh, that's a good impression. That's that was good, Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah. But I guess we'll start with The Irishman, really one of the biggest movie stories of the year, and just like me and Devin were saying, respected by the Academy, but really more of a fun Scorsese, high budget.
For sure.
Every actor
Everyone's
under the sun.
cha-cha-cha, having a good time.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
And it's exactly what you'd expect from like a gangster Scorsese movie. And again, not to break it down too much, but again, it is the whole sell.
It's the big three.
The whole sell on it was exactly
sure.
that. Is like, look of all the actors that have worked with Scorsese.
And Pesci and De Niro all together at last. And as we discussed,
really shocking, no DiCaprio cameo in this movie.
Yes.
Just as much as he's worked with Scorsese in like the past,
for sure.
Shutter Island,
For sure.
The Departed, Gangs of
well,
New York.
Of course,
like he's the new.
We gave you the whole Leo rundown on part one of the episode.
That's true.
Where your theory was it was Netflix, so they didn't get DiCaprio because it was a Netflix.
That's true. That's true.
That was your theory at the time. But definitely it was like it was an homage to everybody's Scorsese, and also no Leota was the other big.
Leota was a big one.
The other big one.
And the look on my face too is the realization that this is not the first time I have thrown that DiCaprio theory out there.
But and again, I'll
listen back to episode 13.
Episode 13.
Yeah,
check it out.
I'll check that one out.
Ultimately, what were your thoughts and feelings of The Irishman?
Check out episode 13 for my thoughts and feelings. I will say, though, the big thing, just since we're running through the awards on this, I think the big thing on this is no lead actor nomination in this one.
That's true. De Niro kind of left out in the cold, and Pacino and Pesci both for supporting actors.
Supporting actors, yeah, exactly. And
so definitely, and we just kind of got into that a little bit earlier. I think Pesci probably the sentimental favorite. However, I did say even on that episode, I felt that Pacino really, in my book, stood out amongst those three for his performance. Really kind of just like being something. Just the best Pacino by far since Heat, bar none. And really kind of just a little bit more different than his past characters, where Pacino and Pesci and De Niro, let's face it, were just, Goodfellas, but Casino, but 20 years later.
For sure.
Pacino was, the charismatic Jimmy Hoffa, so the over-top Pacino kind of work.
Absolutely. I felt like De Niro was just playing a De Niro. He kind of talking about how Joe Pesci is older now, is kind of like the older dog, not off his leash. De Niro always acted like an old man even when he was young. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was never like really wild and crazy.
Yeah, he's very Ace Rothstein in this.
Exactly. Even when he's crazy, he's still just kind of like, okay, I'm going to do something crazy.
Wick a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. So I get it. I wouldn't call it a snub. I think it's kind of surprising, but I wouldn't say.
No, absolutely.
I think it's rightfully so.
In terms of the movie, felt it was okay. Like I said at the time, I'd say ultimately my number one prevailing thought, I'd say probably 45 minutes to an hour. Too long to be great.
Yeah,
where it was like 3.5 hours. If it was 2.5, 2.4, it just wasn't good enough to be a 3.5 hour movie. I felt.
Yeah, there was a lot that could have been cut out.
No,
it makes sense. And again, we talked about the editing of it too. You could have edited it out 45 minutes. I could rattle off now that you could edit it out.
And that definitely was the
ending.
Separated it. That maybe is what keeps Scorsese from getting that Academy Award. To be perfectly honest, but.
Yes.
Again, listen back for the rest of our thoughts on The Irishman.
On episode 13.
And lots of hilarious impressions, as Devin says.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for no other reason.
On back-to-back episodes, we did The Ridiculous Six and The Irishman, so my throat is still recovering from the...
We'll try and talk in our normal voices for the rest of this.
Until I get to Parasite.
No. We talked about this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck it.
Especially with what you're wearing. But I guess from going from one movie where the ending could have been edited out to another movie where the ending was pretty much the best 15 minutes of the whole flick was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I joke around about that because I fucking love this movie. All
for sure,
3 hours
for sure.
of it.
And again, another movie that was super long, and again, really the other huge, bigger than life, superstars abound, huge cast.
Yeah, the cast itself is
For sure.
is crazy in this one.
I mean, yeah,
not even the 2 leads, but it's all like Al Pacino again.
No, for
is
sure,
in
yeah,
this
more
one.
Pacino, for sure.
Margot Robbie,
Yeah,
Bullock, and what is Jason Priestley's last movie? Like, there's
that's
so
true, that's
many
right,
like
that's
side
right.
actors that are just in it.
Ethan Hawke's daughter crushed
Maya
it.
Hawke was great in it.
As well as Uma Thurman's daughter as well crushed it.
Yeah, they both did a great job.
Yeah, they were killing it, but
Although the one from Stranger Things, though, was the absolute best. But this movie is, again, another one with a ton of awards. Not just Best Picture, of course.
Yep.
But this one, of course, is Big QT himself for Best Director.
as we talked about earlier, QT's nominated, and we'll all be hoping for him, but we'll see what
I'll
happens.
be rooting hard for at least Best Director.
For a really weird speech where hopefully he sticks with the trend of not using the N-word. Because nobody needs that in our... I don't want to have to throw away my... I don't have to throw away my box set.
Look, it's in the script. It was on the prompt. And now here's another one, too, that I think we've talked about before on the show, but I know we definitely talked about it after we saw the movie. But Best Lead and Best Supporting in this, you really had to, like, flip the coin and, like, see.
Yeah.
Because you got to say Leo and Brad Pitt both pretty
For
much
sure.
have 50-50 screen
No doubt.
time in
Yeah,
this
yeah.
film.
I guess you really could have gone either way. I mean, I kind of really did feel the story was more about Brad Pitt's character throughout the movie, even though he was kind of Leo's right-hand man.
Yeah.
Like, Leo was the star in the movie world. I felt like the film we were watching was more about Brad Pitt, in essence.
For sure.
However, either or, both performances were great. If, Leo was the supporting actor, I wouldn't have thought it was crazy, but I would have thought he was, an amazing runaway favorite for that
and
category.
I think in the end it kind of makes sense. I think even we fell on that too, that Leo would have to be the best lead in this one.
For sure.
Brad Pitt being
and he
the
was
best supporting.
amazing as he, as he usually is, in all honesty. But another great performance by Leo. Would not be surprised to see him take home that best actor award. If it wasn't, however, for Joaquin, who I think is probably going to take that. We'll get into that in a minute or two. But
for sure,
great performance by Leo. When we walked out of the movie, seeing it over the summer, having not yet seen The Joker in the fall, I thought for sure that I think one of my first thoughts was that one of those two dudes is going to win an Oscar, potentially both.
For sure,
and
exactly.
I thought Leo. I think I might have even said at the time. I thought Leo was really like.
And I think Leo too. He was a big story a couple years ago. How he's never won an Oscar for everything he's been in, and he finally won.
Right.
For The Remnant.
Yeah.
I would say I'm glad he's got an award, and I think Remnant was great, but I think, and again, I kind of agree with you on the fact that Joaquin Phoenix kind of looks like the fan favorite here.
Yeah.
But I would say Leo deserves the best Oscar more for this than he did for The Revenant, if that makes any sense.
Interesting.
And I kind of
love The Revenant.
The Revenant. What am I saying?
Thought he was amazing in that. This was the movie, by the way, that I was just kind of teased a couple minutes ago when I said that you might pick this for your best Oscar pick, because I really felt this movie so dominated by the acting performances.
That's the point I was going to make too, is
of Leo and Pitt, that it was really the lead story.
100%,
was the
dude.
acting, and that's kind of was my other big takeaway from the movie at the time. We also did break this one down on a Geeked Up episode.
We did,
but my big takeaway at the time was kind of just that it was a very un-Tarantino movie in some ways, because it was so much about the acting performances and not like over-the-top crazy subject matter until the end. But just in general, it was a very just, intense, slow-paced drama, really carried by two great actors,
For sure. And I guess saying that, too, is Brad Pitt did end up getting nominated for Best Supporting, and this one I think he is the
this
fan
one
favorite.
looks, yeah, much like Joaquin for the Joker. It's just kind of the odds on in Vegas anyway are looking like Pitt
For
is
sure.
the real heavy favorite to take home the Best Supporting Actor. And
He
really
won the
does
Globe.
deserve
He won
it.
the SAG Award
And
for
we
it.
did mention all the other great actors he's nominated against with Pesci and Pacino, who are great sentimental favorites. Then, of course, Tom Hanks,
Anthony
and
Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins. But I really do wish those two movies we haven't seen, and they're great actors, so who knows? But I do feel Pitt is this is Pitt's year.
Could you
to finally
see
bust
the
out
Tom
with an
Hanks
Oscar.
upset, maybe?
I could definitely see it.
That
Tom
would be
Hanks,
fucking brutal.
I mean, yeah, for sure.
Would he use that same goofy
when Brad Pitt was winning the Golden Globe, Tom Hanks was winning the Man of the Year.
Exactly,
at
exactly.
the Golden Globes or whatever the fucking stupid award they gave him. But ultimately, this is my, like we mentioned, at least for Quentin Tarantino personally, my sentimental favorite, and really just in the fact to see a Tarantino movie win a Best Picture, like I said, just in terms of his movies usually being so far, like Django Unchained isn't going to win an Oscar, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I feel like this one might, so it's really, and Tarantino as well saying he plans on only directing one more movie. Who knows what kind of weird mindfuck that might turn out to be.
People
So
are
this really
predicting a
might
Star
be
Trek
his-
movie.
yeah, that's true. So this might be Tarantino's last chance to put that on his resume. So for me, being a huge Tarantino fan for my whole life, definitely a sentimental favorite there.
For sure.
And a
Agreed.
very worthy movie.
Yeah,
Would walk out.
Wouldn't be an upset
for
at
sure,
all.
For sure. I'd Rudy's dad it in a heartbeat. However, Netflix couldn't get
Netflix
the
really
rights.
dropped the ball on this one.
Yeah,
They
for
fucking
sure.
spent the load of the cash on the Irishman,
I know, for real.
and then whatever was left on the two poops. I guess something kind of worth noting in this one too is Margot Robbie, no supporting or lead actress nomination.
Good call.
I would say supporting at least.
And she's the only one that's left off the list because Tarantino's nominated, actor, supporting,
sure.
and then nothing from the ladies. So, and I thought she did was great in the movie.
The only thing I would argue is why it's not a total snub is because
she's already nominated.
and 80 other things. But the other thing too is that watching it, she's not in it that much. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Her total screen time in that flick might be like 15 minutes
Yeah,
tops. You know, it's
No, for sure.
basically the two of them every
Yeah, yeah.
scene.
No, that's true. They really do carry the movie, and
She's in the foreground to
very
like
much in-
let you know what the backdrop of it is.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
this
No,
is
that's
what
true.
is happening,
It's
and these are
really
the two dopes
carried
working
by the other
around
two,
it.
and-
Exactly. So I don't think it's that crazy that she wasn't nominated for that one at least.
Yeah, no, that's true.
And then I guess bringing up that then is another one we both saw, and you've talked about it enough as we think best actor.
Another
fan
one we saw
favorite.
together as well, as a matter of fact. Correct? Oh no, I saw this. Actually, I saw this one with Accountant Mike. Rather,
Okay, I saw this one at an
Me and
iPic
Accountant
theater.
Mike from the Seinfeld trivia contest. Of
I
course.
saw this one at a iPic theater where they give you the blanket and pillow and like the stretching out warm
nice.
chairs.
Oh wow,
and then
the
you
full
hit
blanket and all.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, is that what the iPic theater is? I see that.
and then you hit a button and the waiter will come out and take your order.
Okay,
So
wow.
I was drinking red wine. By the time I walked out of this fucking flick with all, fucking watching this movie in the dark and drinking red wine, people thought I was some fucking Joker maniac with all like my bright red lips
Yeah,
and the
seriously.
fucking smears
Your
going up my
smeary
cheeks.
face and
Laughing my ass off because I'm wine drunk because I just drank a
Maniacally
bottle of
laughing up a
Cabernet. But of course, I'm talking about the Joker.
yeah.
And this one's got a few, I guess, a couple others than just the Best Picture. But
Tons of nomination, and personally shocked. I guess we could have talked about it earlier. I guess, but one of my big shocks of the Oscars in general is how much love the Joker got through various nominations.
I have
I'd
a
say.
theory about this too. Don't you kind of
Lay it
think
on me.
this is a post Heath Ledger where there's kind of like
I mean,
sembles into that where they're just like
just what? Still, just the love of the Joker and the obsession with the
For
Joker.
sure, man, 'cause Heath Ledger won for
and that's
it.
why they keep on making stupid Joker movies. For
right.
sure.
Jared Leto really dropped the ball as we predicted.
Yeah, I know. Seriously, heard it here first. Fucking
Yeah.
Mark from Home Improvement versus Batman. Fucking was the older years of. But yeah, no, he was terrible. And then as well, just you're right. I just feel the whole Joker, another disturbed Joker movie. Just like, can we just let the Heath Ledger Joker breathe for fucking 2 minutes before we have to redo it again?
For
you
sure.
know?
And I guess this one too was even more kind of bonkers because it wasn't a Batman movie, It was just like
unquote.
You're supposed to feel bad, like you're supposed to be on the Joker's side.
No, for sure. And this is another one that me and Devin broke down, gave you a breakdown on one of our one of our Geeked Up shows. However, just to catch up, I gave it a hated it.
Yeah, hated it. And I think I was right there too.
Yeah, for sure. But just in general, a lot of things really bothered me with it. I guess just what Devin brought up, the fact that it was sold as not being a Batman movie, unquote, but yet he literally goes and, has a personal encounter with a young Bruce Wayne, and then murders his parents while he's standing in the stupid alley. And then you got the balls to tell me it's not a Batman movie?
Yeah, that was literally a Batman origin story.
Yeah. But as well, it just really, I had a big problem with the fact that, and it was self-admittedly an homage to Scorsese.
Yeah.
And he, admittedly was influenced, straight up hacked. In other
because
words.
that was the whole thing too. Is like I thought it was totally produced by Scorsese,
sure.
and then I found out he had nothing to fucking do with
that
it.
Was confusing. But and that was really kind of just I feel a little bit you're treading on water in the year 2020 when 90% of your viewers that are going to see your movie haven't seen Taxi Driver, King of Comedy. You're kind of pulling the wool over their eyes by like totally ripping those two movies off and then getting the best director critic. You know what I mean? So that was just kind of what I mean.
And this is one of those directors too, because it's Todd Phillips, so he's not even like a major. I don't want to like dog him, but he's not like a majorly like respected director. He's like he directed the Hangover movies and fucking the Hangover movies.
But yeah, no, Todd Phillips not a comic booky movie kind of guy. So
yeah,
he was trying
or
to
even like a dark movie kind of guy.
That's true, yeah. So he's even going for something.
And
else
was that
there,
their thinking? It was like we'll get a director to direct the Joker. The Joker likes to tell jokes.
Yeah. But I feel at the time, like we said, so the whole Joker angle had a lot to do with me not liking it. At the time, I felt it would have been much better if it was just labeled and branded, as I called it, the Pavarotti, the Joe Davola, the crazy clown story. And it was just a story of like a demented, tragic clown that was a little bit off. It would have been a lot better
I'm on board
than
with
like
that.
an actual Joker movie as well if you literally didn't have him holding up the Tonight Show a la King of Comedy at the end.
Really,
I would have
man.
felt it was a lot less influenced by King of Comedy and a lot more straight up hacked.
Yeah, and when can exactly that point? And when can you stop saying it was influenced by a movie and not just being like, "Oh, I copied that movie, threw a little Taxi Driver in there, but it's basically King of Comedy."
Yeah,
all
for
to
sure.
the point of like imaginary friends and fucking like you said, going on the Tonight Show and De
And
Niro fucking
like
being the
you're
Tonight
picking
Show
like
host.
a very obscure
Rupert
Scorsese
Pumpkin
movie.
himself is fucking in the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So, and then to
Snubbed
brand
again,
it-
De Niro, by the
and
way.
then
No
to-
Best Supporting Actor.
That's true. Hey, good call. And then to brand it as like a but this isn't one of these. It was like a comic book movie for people that thought they were too good for comic book movies, but didn't want to go see
sure.
Parasite because the Joker wasn't in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like.
No, you're right. This is the comic book movie for everyone that like dogs the Avengers movies.
sure.
I don't watch those movies. Loved the Joker. It's
Exactly.
like fuck
Yeah,
you.
for sure.
I will say though, joking around about De Niro getting snubbed, I would say that Zazie Beetz got snubbed
Great
for
call.
one best name category.
And we'll bring that up later in the Geeked Up Awards. But and last year it went to Rami Malek, I think, was my hilarious name of the. But this year definitely
big snub to Zazie Beetz for best supporting actress. I thought she was great in it. Just
She was,
having
for
to
sure.
play against this fucking psycho idiot
Yeah, no, definitely.
and like
But
trying
no
to play
love
it so
for her.
straight. But she was really good in it, man. Like you felt for this chick in the movie,
In
especially
a storyline that was so poorly executed at the end when they gave the big reveal that she was imaginary, I didn't even know she was supposed to be fake.
Yeah.
I thought that she was supposed. I thought that we all knew she was.
I was like, did nobody not pick up on
Yeah.
that? No, this chick's
Was-
on a date with
know.
a fucking
Exactly.
psychopath.
Was anybody
Laughing
at the
at this-
sixth sense moment?
Yeah.
Those guys are so safe. Fuck.
Although,
She was-
wasn't there some guy at an open mic once that brought a Tinder date to the open mic to watch him do like 3
Yes.
minutes in
I
comedy?
think you're right, dude.
What is that guy up to? Guarantee he's the one that shoots Jimmy Fallon.
That's a good call. I think he might have been at the bar afterwards, and they like came in, and like that's what they did that night. They like he took her to her.
Took her to my open mic. What a fucking bold move.
Fucking baller, dude. I hope he.
But so that was the cat. I guess just go over that again. The best picture, best director, and best actor, best lead actor were the cat nominations for the Joker.
Yeah, as well as a lot of the other other awards throughout the line. Like those are the big awards that me and Devin focus on. But the Joker got a lot of just love in general.
And I guess I'm going to say for me, the buck stops there. Those are the last of the movies I've personally seen.
Big F! WEFUNK. We funk.